Hi there, purposeful people. My name's Rachel and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming another Q&A. I actually filmed a Q&A a few months back if you want to go watch that Q&A to get to know me a little more. And so I just want to thank you all for sending in questions through Instagram and through YouTube. If you want to follow my Instagram, it's at madewithpurposeyt, and that is just an easier way for you to ask questions for a Q&A and to send me different video requests. So this video will be categorized into 3 different sections. So the first section I'll be going through is Christian related topics, Christian advice. The second category I'll be going through is school, college, future, that type of stuff. And the third section I'll be going through is the miscellaneous random get to know me category. And so I'll have timestamps in the description where you can easily find those different categories and what you are interested in. So the first question is, how have you seen God moving in your life lately? And this is such a good question, and I've seen him all around me lately, and so I just want to backtrack a little. So in March of 2021, we found out from doctors that my papa had a 99.9% chance of having pancreatic cancer. And so we were really just crushed, and we didn't know what to do. We were just praying for a miracle, and it was just really devastating, and that was a really hard month for all of us. He was not at all like himself. He was just not feeling good, and he had to undergo this extreme surgery called a Whipple procedure. So that was really, really tough on him, and we were just worried about the surgery itself because sometimes it doesn't do anything to help it, and it can just make it even worse. So we were just praying through that, and so the next thing we know, the doctors let us know that they don't see any cancer. And so that was just such a miracle performed by God, and that is just so clearly evident that God is working in our lives, and he healed my papa. And so that is the most recent example of how God has worked in my life. He's still not 100%, but it's so reassuring to know that he is healed from his cancer and that God is a miracle worker and a promise keeper, and he is faithful and he hears our prayers. And so that is the most recent example of God working in my life, and I know that I never shared that with you all, and you probably didn't know that I was going through that, but yes, that was a very trying time in mine and my family's lives this year. So getting an answer to that prayer was just the biggest blessing, and so I just wanted to share that little praise report with you all. The next question is, do you have tips for making friends who are Christian? And so first and foremost, I want to say that I don't want to downplay this at all. Like, I know how tough it can be to find those good godly friends. Like, I am with you, girl, and I've experienced this, and I've had the struggle, and it's not easy. It's not a simple task that I'm just going to give you these steps and say, here you go, now you can make Christian friends. It's going to be an adventure, but you're destined to find wonderful people out there. So here is my advice. So first of all, who you are is who you will attract. You can't expect to find good Christian friends when you aren't being a good Christian friend yourself. You have to put yourself out there. And coming from an introvert, I know how difficult this can be, but it's so worth it to step outside of your comfort zone because you will meet such wonderful people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. So this can mean going to church events, hosting Bible studies, going to small groups, going to youth groups, speaking to the new visitor at your church, speaking to someone who's alone at a lunch table, speaking to someone that you've always wanted to be friends with, asking intentional questions, checking in on your friends regularly, genuinely complimenting others, initiating activities with friends, and being open to invite new people. And the list just goes on and on and on. So don't be scared to reach out to other people. And finally, I encourage you to just pray for godly friends. Prayer is the answer to everything, and so this is my #1 tip. So many of my friends are straight up just answered prayers from God, and it's so clearly evident that they are. This isn't to say pray and your prayer will immediately be answered and you'll just miraculously find a godly friend, but I'm just saying that God hears your cries and he will answer in his way, in his will, and his time. And so God already knows what's on your heart. God already knows that you want godly friends. And so just speak that to him. Tell him your desires. My third question is, what are your Bible essentials? And this is a very good question, and I'm so glad you asked. So first of all, this might seem obvious, but my Bible. For me, I love having a physical hard copy of my Bible. Yes, I do enjoy reading my Bible on my phone, on my YouVersion Bible app, but there is such a difference when it comes to reading your Bible on your phone and when it comes to reading it in your hand, where you can flip through the pages, write, highlight, just get in the Word. And so I encourage you to get a hard physical copy. If that's possible for you, it will change the game. I also always love having a journal, highlighters, and a pen on hand, because I just love journaling what I'm reading. And I just absolutely love the Enduring Word app on the App Store. You can download it for free. They also have a website, and it is just a free commentary on the whole entire Bible, and it's so good. It breaks each verse down, and I just always come away from it learning so much and just growing in my understanding of the Word I'm reading. The next question is, what is your favorite Bible verse? And I've already answered this in my previous Q&A if you want to go watch that, where I explained that John 3:30 is my life verse, and so I kind of shared why. That verse says, "He must increase, but I must decrease." I have also been loving a couple other verses recently, so one of them is Psalm 27:1. I've always clung to this verse ever since probably middle school. It deals with a lot of fear and worry, so if you're experiencing that, go check that verse out. And then I also love Genesis 50:20, and this is kind of during Joseph's whole story, which is one of my favorite biblical stories of the whole Bible. I just love the story of Joseph, and so this verse basically talks about how what people meant for evil, God meant for good, and that has just been so relevant to my life lately and so comforting. So I encourage you to go check those out. Then I have favorite worship songs right now, and I listen to a wide variety of worship songs, but to keep this short and sweet, I'm just going to mention one album that I've been really loving lately, and that is God Send by Riley Clemmons. Her songs are so good, and specifically God Send and When Nothing Hurts, those songs touch my heart. They're so good, and the lyrics are just beautiful, and so I really encourage you to go listen to that album right now. Then I have the questions, when are you most happy, and how do you stay so positive and happy all of the time? And so I kind of grouped these together because I feel like they go hand in hand. So to answer the first question, I am most happy when I am in God's Word, period. That is it. That is the key to my joy. And to answer the second question, this might come as quite a shocker to you, but I'm not always happy all the time. And that is because happiness is always fleeting. Like anyone else, I have my bad days where I'm just frustrated or stressed or annoyed or just sad, but I have everlasting joy through Jesus. Happiness is temporal, always seeking more, but joy is eternal, always seeking less of myself and more of Jesus. I also just want to remind you that what you see on social media and even on my YouTube channel is just a highlight reel of my life. I may be smiling in my posts, I may always look happy, but like you all, I'm human. I mess up, I fail every day. I have bad days, I struggle. Yet the difference is I have joy in Jesus, and that does not fade. That does not change with my circumstance, and I can cling to that no matter the season of life that I'm in. Social media is only a glimpse. It only gives you a glimpse into my life. You don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes. And so I say this to reassure you that if you're having a bad day, it's normal. It's okay. But you can find joy in your Creator, and the only source that you can find that joy is through Jesus. And so I just say all of this to give you hope that there is eternal joy out there for you, and happiness will never satisfy. The next question I have is, what was your high school experience like during the pandemic? And so this is kind of a loaded question. That senior year was definitely different, to say the least. Was I disappointed? Well, of course. Who wouldn't be? It all took us by surprise, and so I really had to learn to adjust and make the most out of it. Although it was so extremely hard, I learned so much. I learned the true importance of appreciation and never taking things for granted. And even with COVID, my senior year was so special, and I'm so thankful for all the memories I made. And as for tips for going into high school, I'm going to be making a whole video on that coming soon, and so I just encourage you to stay tuned for that, because I'm going to be giving some much needed advice for all of you going into high school, no matter what grade you're in. If it's your freshman year, if it's your senior year, I've got you covered. So I just can't wait to film that for you all. Next I have, what is your favorite subject in school? I love choir. Choir is like my safe haven, my home, and so it's always just been there for me, and I just find so much joy in singing and being in a community of friends that I just can trust and know well and just be myself around. And so choir has always been such a great way for me to express myself and to step outside of my comfort zone, and I just love music, and so that is perfect for me. and I'm actually going to be doing choir in college as well, and so I'm super excited for that journey. Next question is my major in college, and so I will be majoring in elementary education. I have always had a heart for children. I love them, and I would absolutely love to train them up in the way they should go, and to not only teach children, but for me to be able to learn from them. I've been working with children a lot lately with my job, and so not only have I been able to help them and pour into them, but they have taught me so much about just childlike wonder and faith of a child, and it has been so inspiring to see and to experience that once again. The next question is, do you prefer big colleges or small colleges? I'm going to a small college, so I definitely favor small colleges over big colleges. It's nothing against big colleges, I just love smaller colleges personally. I just love the idea of having a close-knit community where everybody knows everybody and you're comfortable around people and you aren't afraid to reach out and ask a question, or you can just feel at home, and so that is what draws me into a smaller school. And this question is super fun. It says, when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up? And so I was quite the dreamer as a child. I always wanted to be a fashion designer, and that was just a huge dream of mine. I thought it would be so fun. I loved to draw, I loved clothes, and I loved to sew at the time, and so that just seemed like the ideal occupation for me. I loved it. Little me did not realize that that meant you would have to move off to a bigger city and go through all of this fashion type school, and so the dream kind of faded now, but I still adore fashion and I still enjoy watching the runways, always keeping up with the latest fashion trends. That stuff just interests me so much, and so I think that part of me still has not left. I also loved dancing as a child, and when I say loved, like I loved it, like it was my life. I would be going through the grocery store dancing in the aisles, I would be dancing at recess with my friends, I would come home, choreograph dances, show them to my mom, I would eat, sleep, dance, repeat. Like that was me. Now that I think of it, I probably annoyed people a lot, but that's just who I was. I couldn't contain my joy. I had to dance. And so I always thought it would be the absolute coolest thing ever to be a Radio City Rockette. Tell me that would not be the coolest job. And so even now, like Radio City Rockettes, if you want to hire me, I mean, I'm available. The only downside is I have not reached their height requirement, so that kind of is a bummer. But I think I just watched too much Shake It Up as a child because dancing was my obsession, and that kind of never left. I mean, I kind of fulfilled my dancing dreams this year when I became the choreographer of my school's theater productions, and so I made up all the dances and taught them, and so, I mean, it's not quite Radio City Rockette level, but I still think little me would be proud. The next question I have is, do you have any pet peeves? And so I think any human being has some sort of pet peeve. Like there's gotta be something that annoys you. And so this pet peeve of mine is really weird. Hopefully nobody takes offense that is watching this, but my pet peeve is when people excessively pop their knuckles, their necks, their backs. Like the noise that it makes just like makes me cringe. Like I can't. I don't know what it is. I never pop my fingers, and so I can't even imagine popping them right now because it would be like 10 years worth of popping my fingers, because I am just terrified of popping my fingers and I don't like the sound that it makes. Is that weird? Probably. You've probably never heard that pet peeve before. Okay, the next question I have is, what is your biggest fear? And so this is a really irrational fear of mine, but I still am terrified by the idea of it, and that is quicksand. Like, just the thought of being in quicksand and not being able to like move around to get out because you'd sink even more freaks me out. Like that is terrifying. Like what do you do in that situation? Because if you move, you're just gonna sink even further. So do you sink? Do you try to get out and then sink? Like I don't know what I would do. The likelihood of me ever experiencing quicksand is slim to none, but nevertheless, like it still worries me. Like quicksand? Anybody like that? Most people would say like spiders or snakes or being kidnapped, but like quicksand? That's a scary one. Okay, a more lighthearted question after that one is, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? And this person says chocolate, duh. And so, I mean, I'm with ya. I love chocolate. I'm a chocolate lover, but orange sherbet. I love orange sherbet. I love rainbow sherbet. Like, sherbet is just so good. Like, I don't know what it is, but I love sherbet. And so that is probably my favorite ice cream flavor. So yeah, sorry chocolate ice cream, like, I still love you, but I also really, really love orange sherbet. Then I have, what are some of your favorite childhood memories? And this is just such a good nostalgic question, and it really got me thinking. And so I have a lot of favorite memories with my family, and so one of them is playing Webkinz and Barbie dolls with my sister. No joke, we would play Barbie dolls or Webkinz like every day, like non-stop. It was just our thing, and we loved it. And yeah, and I'm not even talking like playing Webkinz on the website. Like, yes, we did that, but we would play Webkinz like they were Barbie dolls. Like, they would be people. They would talk. It's just giving you an idea of the age that I lived in. I lived in the era of Barbie dolls, Webkinz, silly bands, you know, the good old days. And so that was what my childhood was made of. I also have very good memories of playing on our swing set with my sisters. We would go swing, and we'd even have like little live concerts. Like, we would pretend that in between like the two trees was a stage, and I just remember like performing for them, and we'd be on the swings, and that was just so cute. Like, oh. And then I have going on different vacations with my family. Like, I remember going to Pigeon Forge and staying in a cabin, and going to different beaches, going to Disney World. Like, such wonderful memories made with my family. And so I just love all of those trips that we were able to spend together. And then to keep it short, I'm just gonna name off one more, and that is having sleepovers at my mama and papa's house. Every Friday night we spend the night at their house, and so we've done that ever since I can remember. So I've had endless amounts of sleepovers at their house, and such wonderful memories made there. And finally, my last question, what is your dog's name? And so if you pay close attention, if you're a big fan, you'll notice a spoiled rotten dog in some of my videos, and her name is JoJo. She's quite the diva, and we love her. So yeah, she's kind of a celebrity. If you didn't know, my dog's name is JoJo. The more you know. So yeah, that is all of the questions I'll be answering today. I hope some of them helped you in your own life and provided you with some advice, and then I hope some made you laugh. I hope some allowed you to get to know me a little better. So let me know if you'd love to see another Q&A sometime soon, because these are so much fun to film and the questions really make me think. So thanks for keeping me on my toes. As always, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!